We live no ordinary moments. That is one of the axioms in The Way of Mastery, which is a fantastic spiritual metaphysical text that I study frequently. Hello, I am Karen Seltz. Welcome to Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. If you are new to me, wanted to let you know who I am and what I do. I am a visibility coach, and I help coaches, healers, and entrepreneurs gain the courage and confidence to show up regularly on video so they can be perceived as experts in order to create the impact and income they desire. So if that is you, know that I share plenty of mindset and spirituality techniques and practices with my clients, and I also share them here on this show. So follow along and you'll learn all these hacks that take you from playing small and hiding to showing up and being on purpose. I want to share with you a story. This just happened 4 or 5 days ago. And every time something like this happens, I get so delighted, like a little child. I'm so excited. And it's unbelievable if you are not into this work that I've been doing. And that is that of Dr. Joe Dispenza, or any spiritual or metaphysical work where you can create and cause miracles. So I had done about 2 hours of meditation it was on Sunday. And the last 30 minutes I was doing coherence healing. I was a healer with a group of people. We were, focusing our energy to heal others. And then I took my daughter shopping. We went into the store. I don't know how long we were there. When we came out, my car was completely dead. I tried it, 4 or 5 times and it was dead. I'm like, I know what to do. I've done this before. So I popped the hood and I took a breath like that. And I said a prayer in my head, like I'm just connecting to the divine. I'm like, okay, channel your power through me. And I just felt like this, which is what we do for healing too. Like we channel energy. And in healing, a lot of times if it's remote, meaning like on the computer, I will pull my hands apart until I feel energy. And I'll feel it. And then I'll put them closer together and allow that feeling, that field to build. And if I'm healing somebody remotely, I will put the image of them between my hands. I usually have these eye shades on. So I have the image of the person in my mind, but between my hands, and I'm surrounding them with this coherent, loving energy from God, universe, source. In person, we still do that, but then we hold our hands out and we, are shooting healing energy to the person. So this is what I did over my dead car battery. I did this, breathed in all the love of the universe, put my hands out like this over my car battery for, I don't know, 5-10 seconds. I'm like, and then I just had a knowing like, okay, that's enough. And I went and started my car. And I'm like, girls, and my daughters are almost 15 and 16. I'm like, do you realize that this is a miracle? They're like, Mom, we're so used to you. I'm like, are you kidding me? So, and then I was right across the street from AutoZone, which is where they sell car batteries. So I went over there and I told the guy, I'm like, I just jump started my car with my hands. He's like, yeah, whatever. So he brings his little thingies out. He's like, yeah, you have a bad battery. And we go back in and he doesn't have my battery. He doesn't have it. So I push the button, my car starts right up again with a bad battery. I'm like, okay, well, I must have juiced it pretty good. So I dropped my daughters off and I went to a different AutoZone. And on the way there, I was so tickled, so delighted. I was like, Oprah, do you remember when she gave away the cars? She's like, you get a car and you get a car. Well, I was like that, but with love. So I passed a ton of people that were walking on the street. It was beautiful out. I live in Phoenix. So I'm like, you get some love and you get some love. And I was like beaming love to everybody. And I felt my field of love like expanding out so big. And by the time I got to the other AutoZone, I was just like a ball of love. And the person who waited on me, I'm like, do you have somebody that can put this in for me real quick? Because I didn't bring any tools and I don't really know how to do it. And they said, yeah, we could probably get somebody. And this guy helped me and he was so happy to help me. He was thanking me. And he was telling me by the end, I told him what happened. He's like, well, that makes sense. We are electrical systems. He's like, you have made my day. And by the end, I'm like, can I give you a hug? He's like, yeah, it'd be great. But on the way out there, this complete stranger just like looked at me and was like, wow, you're so beautiful. And I'm like, wow, thank you. But I was like, it wasn't that kind of thing. Like he didn't want anything from me and he wasn't hitting on me. He was just reading my energy. And I felt beautiful. I felt like God in the flesh, like we're all sparks of the divine. And sometimes we feel it. And sometimes we are identified with the 3D, like with circumstances, or we have a bad day or a bad moment of a day. But I was so delighted. I was like so excited. So I'm like, I could share this with somebody who will get it. And Dr. Joe Dispenza has a Facebook group for anybody who has attended his week-long advanced retreats. And there are 26,000 people in that group. I'm like, I'm going to share this because this is the second time that I have started a dead car battery without touching it, but with the energy from my hands. The first time was in Cancun the day after a week-long advanced retreat. And I had just done this meditation called the Body Electric. And somebody who was going to drive us somewhere had a dead car battery. And I'm like, I just did the Body Electric walking meditation. I know for certain I could start your car. Like, let me at it. Anyways, so I posted it in the Facebook group and the comments just made my heart sing. Somebody was like, I am laughing because this is so much fun. And the big thing that it ignited for me was, I tell you, I was delighted like a child, like a little child on Christmas, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this worked. And yet, of course it did, right? So it's both at the same time. And it got me thinking like, well, what other areas of my life could I do this in, right? So right now, my pool pump has been acting up. So it's been off. And when I went to start it the other day, it was completely dead. My pool's green. Don't call the city on me. So I'm like, well, duh, let's go do it. So I went and did my thing and my pool pump is working. And this one lady said, well, I'm gonna take care of all my electricity that way. She's like, no more electricity bills for me. I'm like, yeah. So what other areas in our lives could we try these things? And what I was thinking about with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work is there are so many big testimonials, like people walking that have MS that have walked in like 8 years and they're getting out of their wheelchairs and walking, and people healing their bodies from stage 4 cancer. And those are really big things that require a shit ton of faith. What if we started with something small, like these fun, inconsequential things, like starting a car battery? Like if it doesn't start, so what? We call AAA or we get a jump from somebody in the parking lot. But why not play? Why not have some fun with this? Because we are unlimited beings. We are sparks of the divine. So let's play. And then we get to ripple out the love that was felt, the love that I created in my community, just from that one, like curiosity and the faith, the one act of faith that this is going to work. And I tell you, I mean, even look at me talking about it, I'm delighted. I'm like, well, why not? And every time I hear these little stories like that, it makes me want to try other things. Well, why not this? I don't know. Why not? So I would love to hear your comments. I would love some comments like, okay, try this. Like, let's play. Let's have some ideas. Let's spark some fun, because we can channel any energy and energy follows intention. So we're not limited by time or space or any of that. So back to the beginning, I said, we live no ordinary moments. Now, this is from Way of Mastery. And what it means to me is every single moment is meant to be extraordinary, and it is extraordinary if we're paying attention. So just pausing. I'll give you another example. So my daughter took this quiz in PE class, and it was on stress. And she had all of these things, all of these stressors, all symptoms like emotional stress, physical stress in the body. Like she suffers from anxiety and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I had a lot of things to do. I pick her up from school kind of in the middle of my workday. And I had a lot of things, on my mind. I was in the middle of a project and I could have just blew her off, but I didn't. I took a moment, I took a breath. I'm like, what was it like, when you saw all those answers, all those boxes that you checked? Was it kind of a relief or was it overwhelming? Or what was it like? And she said it was a lot. It was really overwhelming. I said, wow, I can imagine. And I just took a moment and I saw her and I connected. And that became an extraordinary moment. It could have been an ordinary moment if I brushed it off, if I moved past it, which I've done a zillion times. That, don't get me wrong, I want to do it a lot. It is my set point, right? Like I'm busy, don't bother me kind of thing. And I'm a single parent and I work from home. So I've had a lot of those moments too. And then I'm like, oh, I missed an opportunity. And the second I catch those, I will go, to my daughters and say, hey, I missed that. I could have stopped and been present with you. And I wasn't, and I'm here now. And that's always available to us. We get redos. We don't think we do, but we do. And Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery say, if you don't like what you have, choose again. In every single moment, we have the ability to make a new choice. And the moment we make a new choice, it's like dropping a pebble into the pond of our awareness. And that pebble creates a ripple, and then another ripple, and then another ripple. So whatever we are experiencing right now was from a pebble we dropped, who knows when, maybe yesterday, maybe months ago, maybe. And the other way we drop pebbles is by thoughts. So when we start thinking certain thoughts over and over and over again, we are planting seeds in the quantum that are saying, okay, this is what I'm growing. This is what I'm cultivating in my garden right now. So maybe it's thoughts of unconditional love. Maybe it's thoughts of forgiveness, maybe acceptance, maybe abundance, maybe leadership, kindness. It could be anything, or it could be hate. It could be irritation, it could be anger. It could be judgment. Right? We're dropping seeds all the time. And whatever we're thinking today will influence what we're experiencing tomorrow and today. But really, it's accumulation, right? So we get to start really paying attention and thinking. There's a quote too. It's like, you can either look at every single thing as a miracle or as nothing as a miracle. And I choose to look at every single thing as a miracle, because it really is. I mean, think about when you've met somebody significant in your life, whether it be a friend or a lover, where maybe you got a new pet, but the things that led up to that are pretty extraordinary. I have an example. So I went to a yoga class, and it was at a time I don't usually go, but I just felt like I get to go. And there was a woman there, and she's like, I felt called to come put my mat next to you. I never am in this part of the class. And we start talking, and we're like old friends, like we've known each other forever. And it turns out that we both study this book, The Way of Mastery, which most people have never heard of. And then she starts telling me about Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I've known about since 2005, probably 2004.
but I haven't really followed him. And she was telling me about his week-long advanced retreat. And this was during COVID. And I'm like, oh, there's probably not going to be any retreats. So I start consuming his meditations. I'm really, really drawn to it. And I'm like devouring his stuff. I bought his online intensive and progressive workshops, which is, I think it's around 24 to 30 hours of lectures and meditation. So it's a lot to consume and to really understand. And that is a prerequisite. If you ever choose to go to a week-long advanced retreat, he gives it to you for free as part of your ticket. So anyways, I start consuming it and I put it out there. I'm like, if he opens up a week-long advanced retreat, I am there. I am there. And I'm like, oh, and I just kept putting it out there. I'm like, open one. Let's do this. And he did. November 30th, 2020, he's like, did one in Cancun. So I registered immediately, even though I missed my daughter's 13th birthday. To be there, I got to sacrifice something. But I just knew in my core that I had to be there. I knew it. And if I didn't go, I knew I'd be resentful. I didn't want that. So I told my daughter about it and I'm like, what can I do to make your birthday special? Because it is special and you matter to me and all the things. So we celebrated her birthday for a month. So it ended up working out and it was the best choice I've made in my entire life. Now, if I hadn't gone to that yoga class at that weird time, I never would have met this woman who I don't talk to anymore, by the way. I see her like once a year or something at the yoga studio because we don't go at the same times. But I met like one of my best friends at that retreat and I talked to her almost every single day. And so you just don't know. Like I thought that yoga class was an ordinary moment. I'm like, whatever, I'm going to yoga like I always do. And it turned out to be extraordinary because I was listening with my intuition and I was open to whatever the universe had in store for me. And I kept following that thread of desire. So I had this desire, like, oh, find out more about that. Like it lit some fire in my gut, like, ooh, yeah, I love Dr. Joe Dispenza from What the Bleep. He was the one person that I really resonated with the most and thought, wow, this guy's onto something. So when I heard his name, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I know him. And I knew I had this hunger inside of me, this desire to know more, and I followed it. So in the Way of Mastery, they talk about follow the thread of desire. I desired to know more and more and more. And then I desired to go to a week-long advanced retreat and experience this immersion, this immersive love and healing that my body, my soul knew. They knew that I was ready for it. And I experienced miracles, major mystical experiences at that retreat. And I met the most beautiful people. So following the thread of desire is paying attention to all of the moments. And then you keep asking yourself, like, okay, what do I want now? What do I want to experience right now? And whatever I want to experience, I ask myself, well, how can I be that? Because it's not up to anybody else to create it. It's up to me. So if I want to experience love, who can I beam love to or just to be loving to, depending on what mood I'm in? I might be beaming love, or I might just be, opening myself up to love. So all of this is just to scratch the surface and just ignite a little bit of curiosity inside of you to say, what have I been not paying attention to that's available to me right now? Because you can create some really cool stuff. Just start playing and playing because it's fun. It's so much fun to play in the quantum, I tell you. I mean, imagine starting a dead car battery by doing this and beaming some energy to it. So, all right, I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to beam you some energy, whether you're watching this live or the replay. My intention is that you feel this love right now. Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Not the singing, the quality of the singing, you know. I feel it. It's so strong. Energy knows no time, no space, no bounds. It's just intention. My intention is to send you love right now. Breathe it in. Woo, my hands are vibrating. Breathe it in. It's there for you. Yeah. Now you can create that or pay it forward. Give it to somebody else. If you are a coach, healer, or entrepreneur, I invite you to get my free gift, which is 5 ways to boost your confidence on video. I will link it in the comments. If you like this video, subscribe to this channel, share it, comment, do all the things. Show me the love. Thank you so much for watching Irresistible You. I'm Karen Seltz. I will see you right here next week. Thanks.